they targeted not just your dad, but also your wife. And I think a lot of people sitting at home would say, well, that's pretty cynical. I mean, this is someone who attacked your own members of your family. And what we learned from this testimony is that not only did Donald Trump know about it, he coordinated it.
Look, I understand, but I knew then it was lies. It was lies then. It's
but you didn't
lies
know
now.
Donald Trump himself was
coordinating. Of course I did. I
it.
said he did. It was obvious. And at the end of the day, I'm a big boy.
Texas, I need to holler at you for a second, Texas.
Whose man's is this? I need to know.
Welcome to Street Politics. My name is Reese Waters. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the page. Now, welcome to another edition of the saddest man in America. The first, of course, being Bill Barr. And not to be confused with the saddest woman in America, who is, of course, Nikki Haley.
Over to see me at Mar-a-Lago, sir. I will never run against you. She brought her husband. Where's her husband? Oh, he's away. He's away. What happened to her husband? What happened to her husband? Where is he? He's gone. He knew.
Donald Trump had a rally today. And in that rally, he mocked my husband's military service. And I'll say this. Donald, if you have something to say, don't say it behind my back. Get on a debate stage and say it to my face. If you mock the service of a combat veteran, you don't deserve a driver's license, let alone being president of the United States. Of course, many of the same politicians who now publicly embrace Trump privately dread him. They know what a disaster he's been and will continue to be for our party. They're just too afraid to say it out loud. Well, I'm not afraid to say the hard truths out loud. I feel no need to kiss the ring. I have no fear of Trump's retribution. I'm not looking for anything from him. My own political future is of zero concern. So I hear what the political class says, but I hear from the American people too.
A few moments later.
I put my priorities on a president who's going to have the backs of our allies and hold our enemies to account, who would secure the border, no more excuses, a president who would support capitalism and freedom, a president who understands we need less debt, not more debt. Trump has not been perfect on these policies. I've made that clear many, many times. But Biden has been a catastrophe. So I will be voting for Trump.
But anybody who's surprised that Nikki Haley turned around and endorsed Donald Trump clearly wasn't following her continued antagonism of Black America and her continued assertions that America was never racist, despite the fact that her family was able to immigrate, in large part thanks to the work of Black folks and the civil rights movement. Her father worked at a HBCU, and she wouldn't even run or serve under her own given name. That's right. If you stay ready to hear garbage out of Nikki Haley's mouth, you don't have to get ready to hear garbage out of Nikki Haley's mouth. However, the saddest man in America right now is none other than Texas Senator Ted Cruz.
In 2024, will you certify the election results? Do you plan to object, or will you accept the results regardless of who wins the election?
So, Caitlin, I got to say, I think that's actually a ridiculous question.
It's a yes or no question, though.
No, it's not.
It's not? It's not? It's not? Because where I'm coming from, it's pretty much a yes or no question. And it's funny you should call it a ridiculous question, because I could make a compilation video of Republicans refusing to answer said yes or no question. In fact, that's actually a pretty good idea. Stay tuned.
Let me explain why it's a ridiculous question. It's not a question. You've ever asked a Democrat that?
Of course.
What Democrat?
But what Democrats?
But hold on a second. What Democrats challenge it?
What Democrats? I know. I've been down this road many times.
But
no Democrat. You cannot compare the two situations. We have talked about that. We've seen the audio of that when they protested on the Senate floor.
But hold on a second.
But has you ever had a sitting president who refused to facilitate the peaceful transition of power, refused to acknowledge that his successor won the presidency?
So, we did have a peaceful transfer of power. I was there on January 20th. I was there on the swearing in.
Barely.
Okay, so first of all, his assertion of, do you ask the Democrats that is hilarious. Like, yeah, man, we caught you with all of the money from the bank. Yeah, it had all of the dye packs in it. It was all over your pants. You left fingerprints all over the door handle when you came in. And at one point, you took your mask off to wink at a young lady who was in line. So we need to ask you exactly where you were this afternoon. Did you ask everybody else that? What you asking me for? Did you ask my brother? Huh? I also have to love, was there a peaceful transfer of power? Oh, okay. So because it didn't work, it's all forgiven. Wow, that is going to be music to the ears of a great number of failed criminals that are currently in prison.
In 2000, Democrats went to the Senate, or 2001, Democrats went to the Senate floor and objected to George W. Bush. In 2004, they went and objected.
And what did the president do?
In 2016, Democrats went and objected to Donald Trump. And so... Look,
and what happened in 2016? Because I remember a guy named Joe Biden was vice president, and he went to the Senate floor and certified the votes.
Ah, yes. Who can't remember in 2001 and in 2004 and also in 2016, all those Stop the Steal rallies that happened after the election and politicians calling around asking if they could find a couple thousand votes, and all of that momentum carrying on into the following election, pushing at a crescendo. I believe it was late 2001 where we all gathered on the National Mall and then ran up onto the Capitol and burst through the windows and had all the lawmakers scurrying. Of course, it didn't work out because we were all wearing skater pants at the time because it was 2001. That's probably why skinny jeans came into fashion.
So you're asking, will you promise no matter what to agree an election is illegitimate regardless of what happens? And that would be an absurd thing to claim. Like, we have an entire election law system that people challenge elections. Elections get overturned. Voter fraud gets proven. That happens all the time. And the media engages in this weird game post-Donald Trump that you insist no voter fraud has ever existed. Why does every state have laws in place to challenge voter fraud if it occurs?
The media
Why do you have election challenges?
This isn't a game. There was no widespread voter fraud.
You only ask Republicans that.
Because it was Republicans who tried to block the transition of power. You have to acknowledge that.
So
we've never seen it on a scale of what happened in 2020, and we've never seen the president refuse. He wouldn't even let Joe Biden get classified briefings at the beginning. I recall that. So my question for you again, free and fair election, will you accept the results regardless of who wins?
Look, if the Democrats win, I will accept the result, but I'm not going to ignore fraud regardless of what happens.
Was there fraud in 2020?
Of course there was fraud in 2020.
No, there wasn't, and you still objected.
You know for a fact there was zero voter fraud. Really? What's your basis for that? Show me your evidence.
We've spoken with Governor Kemp. They did 3 hand recounts in the state of Georgia. The director of CISA said that it was the safest, most legitimate election.
But you're saying zero voter fraud occurred. That's what you just said.
Nothing that would have changed the outcome of that election.
Okay, but that's a different statement.
But no, it's not. Because
yes,
if it wouldn't have
is.
changed
You said there was no voter fraud.
There was no voter fraud that would have changed the outcome of the election, and you know that, Senator.
This man is a child. This man is a child. Were you saying zero voter fraud occurred? So I mean, you saying zero voter fraud? Well, then I can't say. I can't say that I would certify an election because if there was a voter fraud and but then you said there. Shut your ass up.
So what I know is that what I stood on the Senate floor and objected, what I called for, I'll tell you, I wrestled with what to do in that circumstance. And the reason I wrestled with it is because I think there was significant voter fraud in 2020. And
you wanted the 10-day commission, I know, but was there voter fraud that would have changed the outcome of the election?
But do you know why I wanted a 10-day commission? Because I tried to look, I'm a Supreme Court litigator. I argue cases in front of the Supreme Court.
I know.
This is a whole lot of words for not being able to answer, was there voter fraud that would have changed the outcome of the election? Whole lot of words. Whole lot of words. It's the sound and fury signifying bullshit.
The best precedent I could find was the election of 1876. 1876 was between Rutherford B. Hayes and Samuel Tilden. And what happened there were serious allegations of voter fraud, and Congress didn't throw its hands up and say, you know what? CNN demanded that I accept the results no matter what, so ignore the fraud. I got to go. But hold on. What did Congress do in 1876? What did Congress do in 1876?
How did the president handle it?
What did Congress do in 1876?
Senator, I have to know, you can't answer yes or no to this question.
I'm asking a question. What did Congress do in 1876?
You can't answer yes or no to this question. And Republicans,
can you answer my question? Why are you refusing to answer my question?
I'm conducting the interview with all due respect.
This cornball just answered, what did Congress do in 1876? Do you realize how far away we are from you being able to answer either A, if you're going to certify the election, or B, if there was voter fraud that would have changed the election in 2020? You are so far away. You're deflecting and you're ducking and you're dodging, and your cowardice has taken you all the way back to 1876.
I don't know that anyone ever thought the National Enquirer was a reliable news source. I'm not sure aliens arrived yesterday. I'm not sure Elvis is living in Des Moines. And so when they wrote the story, it was absurd. Now I will say, you know, the National Enquirer wrote that my father killed JFK.
Mm-hmm. And he said they mashed two photos together to create.
Yeah, they created a fake photo, and I will say my dad was pretty pissed. And although he laughed about it, but he was still like, what do I do? And I just said, look, Dad, it'll be fine. I will tell you the best response to that happened shortly thereafter. Marco Rubio at the Senate Republican lunch, he actually stood up and told all our colleagues, he said, look, I can tell you for a fact, there is no way that Ted's dad killed JFK. Because if a Cuban had done that, he would have told everyone.
I can't wait to bend the grandkids over my knee and tell them about the good old days where my father got accused of killing JFK. Yeah, a whole assassination of a president. Yeah, that was hilarious, man. Those were the days. And then after that, I'll tell them about how I used to get punched in the face in grade school. Yeah. When I was in college, they used to lead me around campus by my ear.
But when you hear that, I mean, he said he directly tied it to you gaining popularity in the polls. I mean, do you feel like that hurt? People do read that at supermarkets. Do you feel like it hurt your campaign?
It was a rough and tumble race. It was, I will say, Donald Trump and I have a different relationship than most people in Washington, because in 2016, I fought him repeatedly. I beat him over and over and over again in 12 states, but he ultimately prevailed. He beat me.
Yeah, he lied when you beat him the first time in Iowa.
No, I would say you and Donald Trump have a similar relationship, the exact same relationship as he has with the rest of the GOP. He be whooping y'all ass.
And, you know, when he became president, I had a choice to make. I could be pissed. I could be pissed off at what he'd done. But if I was going to do that, he'd just been elected president. I got a job. I got a job to represent 30 million Texans. And frankly, if I was going to let my hurt feelings make me say, I'm not going to work with you, I needed to be prepared to resign my job and go home. And I made a decision then. I said, listen, I'm going to go represent 30 million Texans. I'm going to fight. I got on a plane. I flew to Trump Tower. I sat down with him, spent 4.5 hours. This is the week after the general election in 2016. And what I told him then, I said, Mr. President, we have an historic situation. The voters have given us control of the White House and both houses of Congress. We can't waste this. And I told him then, I said, listen, I want to roll up my sleeves and go to work and lead the effort to deliver on our promises. And as I look back to the Trump presidency, I think we accomplished incredible victories for the American people.
That is the longest, most eloquent explanation of butt kissing I have ever heard.
But this moment, what you said there, you know, you talked about your family. They targeted not just your dad, but also your wife.
That's right, your wife.
And I think a lot of people sitting at home would say, well, that's pretty cynical. I mean, this is someone who attacked your own members of your family. And what we learned from this testimony is that not only did Donald Trump know about it, he coordinated it.
Look, I understand, but I knew then it was lies. It was lies then, it's
But you didn't
lies
know
now.
Donald Trump himself was
Of course I did. I
coordinating
said
it.
he did. It was obvious.
So if we're scoring at home, it came out of Donald Trump's hush money trial, according to David Pecker, who was in charge of the National Enquirer, that not only was Trump aware of the information that was coming out about Cruz's family and Marco Rubio's family, he was coordinating it. Not to mention, of course, the retweet about Ted Cruz's wife. Yes, he was behind all of this. And what say you, the big man from Texas?
At the end of the day, I'm a big boy. And as I said, I could have made a choice. Listen, if I were a private citizen, I could decide my feelings are hurt and I'm just going to leave. But if I do that, I can't do my job. And I care about my job. And I will say, if you look at the people of Texas, under almost any measure, the people of Texas were much, much better when Trump was president than compared to now. You look at, we passed an historic tax cut. I worked very hard with him on that. It produced incredible economic prosperity. We had the lowest unemployment rate in 50 years.
But do you think of the tactics that he used to get
I don't
where
like
he
him.
was?
I can't stand him.
Do you think he would have been the nominee had he not done stuff like that?
I don't know. I think Donald Trump is a unique character in American history. There are things he says and does that I like. There are things he says and does that I don't like. I'll tell you what millions of Americans love about him is that he's got backbones and guts.
Ah, yes. Backbone and guts. Like the kind of stuff that will have you defending your father and also your wife. You know, not just your family of origin, but your current family as well has been assaulted. And backbone and guts might be the thing that would have you defending them. All that good old backboning. Let me tell you the thing that people love about Donald Trump that I don't exhibit in any capacity. You did all that bending over backwards to do all that massaging of Donald Trump, getting all in the folds, in the front and the back folds, and yet I don't see your name on here nowhere. Nowhere. How is Marco Rubio, you know, the one that had jokes about your dad and JFK? Marco Rubio is on the Trump VP list. Mike Flynn is on there. So apparently you can have a record. Maybe your dad should be on there. Even Nikki Haley is on there, but no Ted Cruz. I need to know how it feels. I need to know how it feels to bend over like a pretzel, have this man run roughshod over your own family, and to what end? To what end? And you know what, Texas? I need to holler at you for a second, Texas. I need to holler at you because I have saw fit to address you a number of times. Some of it's been positive in the case of Jasmine Crockett out there killing it. Some of it has been negative, like in the case of the clearly partisan and low-key, not even low-key, high-key racist pardon of Daniel Perry from your governor, Greg Abbott. Texas, this your man's? Huh? This your man's, right? Because y'all always like to say, don't mess with Texas, right? That's what y'all like to say, don't mess with Texas. Isn't that what Greg Abbott asserted to? Stand your ground laws, right? We defending the homestead, stand your ground laws, don't mess with Texas. This your man's? Huh? This your man won't even defend his own people. Won't even defend his own people. The man went to Mar-a-Lago and had lunch with the man. After he came in his home, slept in his bed, drove his car, and went and showed up to the kids' play. Like this man just had his way, and he went to Mar-a-Lago and had lunch with the man. That's y'all? I'm talking about the dude who went on vacation when y'all was having a disaster. That dude. Cancun Ted. I'm talking about Cancun Ted. I asked in the beginning, whose man's is this? But we know. It's your man's. What exactly you gonna do about it? Congratulations, Ted Cruz. You are the saddest man in America. If you have anybody you would like to nominate, go ahead and put it in the comments. You can email me at reese.waters@gmail.com. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the page.